Finn Wolfhard, who plays Mike Wheeler, recently had a quote in an interview that was very interesting and sparked a lot of theories, conversation, and arguments across the Stranger Things community. Arguments, who would have thought, right? So yeah, we're gonna dive into this quote. It's a pretty intense and I feel like heavy quote and has a lot of weight to it considering the wording. So we're going to talk about it and we're going to make theories about what this quote could potentially have meant. But before we get into it, guys, be sure to drop a like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and join my Discord down below where we have over 1,300 members and we talk about Stranger Things and other TV shows every single day. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. The first thing I'm going to do is read you guys the quote. Here it is, word for word. There was a moment where there was true joy from everyone because of a moment that happened. When I walked out from doing the scene, it was just one of the greatest moments in my entire life. I didn't process it at the time because it was just so emotional. There was a lot of champagne. So a few things to break down. The moment he's talking about is a scene because he literally says, when I walked out from doing the scene. So what he's talking about here is a scene. And he says the scene that he filmed, the scene that he experienced, was one of the greatest moments in his entire life. Now, keep in mind, Finn Wolfhard has had a pretty successful and crazy life so far at just the age of 22, I think. He's like my age. I'm 23. He's around my age. And he's had a pretty crazy life. So to say that a specific scene that he was filming for a TV show that's obviously he's very attached to and made his career, let's be honest about it, it was one of the greatest moments of his entire life is insane. To me, that's insane because first of all, he's had a crazy life and he didn't say it was one of the craziest moments in my acting career. It was one of the craziest moments from season 5. It was my favorite scene to film in Stranger Things. He said it was one of the best moments in my entire life. So immediately, this all obviously sparked so many people in the Stranger Things community to give their opinions about this quote because they're trying to think, oh, what scene was this? Was it this? Was it that? Was it this? Was it that? So I'm going to go through some of the options that people laid out and I'm going to give you my opinions and thoughts about those options. The first one is pretty obvious and I think we all expected this, but one of the most commented ones was that it's the scene of him and Will finally getting together. Byler finally happening. Now, I'm going to take about 30 to 45 seconds here and explain to you my thoughts on that. So my thoughts on the whole Byler situation. So I don't have anybody in the comments arguing to me or getting mad at me. Okay. So here's my view on that whole thing. Number one, I do not care about who you ship in a TV show. It has no relevance to my life. I don't watch Stranger Things for the ships. Okay. Sorry to, burst your bubble there, but that's not the reason I watch this show. I have no problem with people who think Byler's going to happen or who think Mike's gay or bisexual, whatever. I've had people send me 30 paragraphs about why these two are gay, okay? I've had thousands and thousands and thousands of DMs trying to tell me that Mike and Will are gay, okay? And I've sat here, I've tweeted it out, I've said all along the last 3 years that I don't think they're going to be gay in season 5. So obviously I think the assumption of him and Mike getting together, and this is the moment, is not true because I think Mike and Eleven are staying together in season 5. Once again, I want to make it clear. Everyone has a right to their own opinion. Everyone has a right to their own views in what they think is going to happen with characters in TV shows. And it has no relevancy on me. And I have no problem with anyone who thinks that. I want you to have your own opinions. We need to have different opinions so we can conversate about it, make theories, argue in a fun way, and make the show even more exciting and more anticipating. Us getting more anticipated about it, right? So yeah, I don't care about your opinions in a good way. And I want you to have your opinions and don't get mad at me for saying that I think Mike and Eleven are staying together in season 5. But that was the first theory that came from this quote. People were saying that this is the moment of Byler and everything. Obviously, I don't think it's true, but that was one of the most popular commented ones. Now that we got that one out of the way, let's go through all the other theories that people brought up and mentioned. I really don't think it's this one, but someone commented, Callie finally returns, ? I just feel like Mike doesn't even know who Callie is, so her returning, would that really have that big an effect on him? Maybe he knows the actor IRL, like Finn knows the actor who plays Callie, and that was cool, but I don't think it's, to say it's one of his greatest moments of his entire life, I don't think it's that, but I guess it's a possibility. Now, this one I think is pretty interesting. Max waking up. So if they wait in season 5 until like episodes 5, 6, 7, or 8, to wake up Max, I feel like the emotional impact of the waking up thing is going to be that much more heavier, that much more emotional. Everybody's going to be happy. It's going to be insane. And that could be, you know, an intense moment in his life because everyone around him, his colleagues and coworkers for the last 10 years are all emotional with him, and they all cried and were happy and this, that, and the other. So it could be Max waking up. I wouldn't doubt that. I don't think it's at the top of the list though. The other one people mentioned was everyone thought Elle was dead and she returned, and Mike had his reaction, his genuine reaction and everything, and it was like a whole ordeal. It definitely could be that because of the connection he has with Mike's character, Finn's connection with his character Mike, and the emotional impact on that and everything. It could be that, but like I said, it's not at the top of the list for me. Someone said it could be Joyce and Hopper's wedding. I think that could definitely be a thing because they're like the mom and the dad of the show. Every actor and coworker of theirs is probably like cheering for that ship in the show, and like they want it to happen and have its glorious ending and everything. So it makes sense, and everyone's been rooting for that relationship to happen since like season 2 at the you know, the latest. I feel like I saw, well, on the rewatch now, I see it in season 1, like they clearly have chemistry, but then Bob happened and everything, so it delayed it a little bit, but people saw the chemistry with Joyce and Hopper right away. So it definitely could be the Joyce and Hopper wedding. It could just be the ending scene as well, where they're all in a group and they finally defeated, or they finally, like, the show just finally ended and the show's just ending. And that's like the ending scene, and they're standing on top of a hill, like in season 4 or something. And it's just that. Could be that. And then the one that I think it is, personally, is sort of what I just mentioned, but where they defeat Vecna, or they defeat the Mind Flayer, whatever monster is going to end up being the biggest villain in season 5. They defeat the connection to the Upside Down in the real world, and they finally, like, win. And that was the moment, and the whole group is celebrating and everything. I guess another thing it could be is Will revealing his powers, if he actually does have powers, because I feel like that's going to be a pretty revealing moment, and, you know, pretty impactful in the show, obviously, but like for everyone involved, all of them have probably been waiting for that moment if they know it's happening, and it could have been like a big celebration or whatever, and finally, like, Will's finally Will and all that stuff. But ultimately I think it's something to do with the ending scene of them defeating Vecna and all that stuff. But I want to know your guys' theories and your opinions on it, because obviously it could be something totally different that we're not even thinking of, and it's just like all that stuff. Maybe it's Elle and Mike getting married, who knows? I mean, it could be a lot of things. But let me know in the comments. Enjoy arguing with each other, but make it in a fun, good way, guys. You know, we can conversate about everything without getting under each other's skin. And I appreciate you guys watching this video, and hopefully this is as huge as Mike talked about it, and it ends up being a very impactful in season 5. But I appreciate you guys watching, and Wednesday season 2 just came out, so I'm gonna watch that tonight, and I will have a review out for that eventually. So appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.